Hello, Eureka. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am well. Thank you so much. I want to welcome our listeners, if you will, to this particular catalyzing conversation with Eureka. And this is definitively in association with the Rethinking Women's Leadership in Business event that's coming up in May, in collaboration, of course, with the Women's Business Collaborative, as well as Andy Simon. And we are looking at that broad spectrum. And we have the great honor of being with Eureka today. So, again, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the honor of being in the interview with you on today. So, as I said, my name is Eureka Patton. I'm the owner of a Massage Envy in Richmond, Texas. My location name is Aliana, and Aliana means noble and gracious, which is everything that I and the business embodies. That's the way we choose to operate. And I'm also a mother of two amazing sons. I'm the 2019 Woman of Excellence through the Federation of Houston Professional Women. I've been the 2019 Top 50 Professional and Entrepreneur of Texas, as well as 2019 Top 30 Women, Influential Women of Houston. So I have a lot going on
Fantastic.
here.
Yes, yes, you do. And this, I think you that the perspective you bring as a business professional, as a parent, if you will, and if you don't mind me saying, as just generally a decent human being, is very much welcomed all
Yes,
around.
yes,
So,
yes. And
so
also, I'm also a author. I
yep.
was blessed to be on a collaborative book with nine amazing women called Power Moms, as well as I have my own personal book that's going to be coming out this year soon, which is going to be titled Accelerating Women.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So with that backdrop, and I'm hoping you'll return once the book is published, and we'll be able to dive in deeper. But
Yes, we will.
excellent. And Eureka, with that backdrop, you know, what are your thoughts on where we are in the world and women leadership in business?
You know, I think that women is are doing a lot more in the area of business and leadership. The times have changed because women are making up a larger percentage of the professional industry as leaders, as executives, as CEOs, and all that. So we're also still being moms and wives in the process. So just because we're starting to be CEOs and executives and board members, that doesn't mean that we've put down the hat of being a mom and a wife. That's just another hat that we have to wear. So as women, we're not necessarily taking hats off, we're putting more on. And with that, we also need the men to kind of help us out in that area. So we would like for them to be able to cheer us on, be our advocates, as well as support us, because as being a leader, doesn't mean that we don't need those things. We get some of the tough days at work just like the men do, but then we still have to come home and cook. We still have to come home and clean, and we still have to come home and to be a wife. So it makes it an interesting dynamic.
Definitely, and I really appreciate the way you're expressing it because we all need each other on a very fundamental human level. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and definitively the number we're not taking hats off. We're adding more hats as we're
Absolutely.
progressing. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and by the way, I mean we embrace those hats. It's not so much that we're doing it kicking and screaming. We're
Right.
actually doing it because we want to do it, and we embrace it, and we love doing it. However, we do understand that it brings on just more to our plate, and but as women we multitask. We're known for doing that.
Mhm.
We can be feeding the baby, cooking, and on a phone call at the same time. We just know how to multitask,
Yeah.
and we do it fairly well.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So Eureka, as you've worked, if you will, in the business landscape, and as if you and as you've interacted with leaders across many spectrums,
Right.
what are sort of the characteristics that you would say future generations really should embrace as you look forward relative to female leadership, to male leadership, and really the right leadership that the world needs today and in the future?
Well, like I said, being able to multitask, that's one thing.
Hmm.
But also having the right mindset about business as well as your personal life. You don't necessarily have to leave one for the other. We can have them both. We can be business owners and leaders as well as being housemakers,
Hmm.
if you will. The other thing is being able to have time management skills. You may have to be at soccer practice with the kid and yet and still being on a Zoom call on your cell phone, holding a business meeting. So there are things that we have to learn how to manage our time with, even if we have to sit in the car and say, hey, I'm going to be over here in the car while I'm taking this meeting call, and your son is out there practicing. Or, sometimes we have to take that me time. you
Hmm.
know if you have to take off in the middle of the day and go have a massage at Massage Envy, you can
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really appreciate one particular thing that you've really honed in on is as leaders, we
Hmm.
are still mothers and fathers
Yes,
in
we
every
are.
sense of the word. Because exactly to your point, and I remember the days of our daughter now, she's up there in age, she's more than 25 years old now. But I remember when I used to take her to practice and I'd be sitting in the car. So mothers and fathers, both as leaders, I think is a very, very key characteristic. And speaking very frankly, females do multitask better than males, from my experience. So exactly to your point.
Right. Yeah, because the thing is that is something that has been instilled in us as women. That's something God has given us. To be able to have a caring part of us. That's that nurturing mother part of us. And it not that nurturing and caring doesn't just stay at home. It goes
Hmm.
to the office with us. So we care about the people that we work for and work with, and those employees and co-workers. So we tend to be able to care across the board, and that helps in us building our businesses and building rapport with those that work for us. Because 9 times out of 10 for a woman, we don't generally ask somebody to do something that we're not willing to do. So my employees know, if I ask them to clean something, guess what? I don't have a problem cleaning. So I don't ask them to do anything that I don't feel I can do.
Yeah. And I think that really emphasizes a very, very humane way to lead
Exactly.
because, yeah. And I was, as you look at the landscape, Eureka, and you think about the multi-billion-dollar organizations to the smaller organizations,
Mhm.
the question that comes to my mind is, are organizations human enough? Or are we not finding the right balance? And now this is a time where we need to explore what that right balance of humanity is.
Yes. I've had the opportunity to work, in Fortune 500 companies, as well as, now having my own small business. And it is a difference, because, you don't get a chance sometimes to meet those people that are at the very top of these Fortune 500 companies. The only thing we do at the, down at the bottom is just get what they've said for us to do, what their common goal is. But we don't get to know kind of what type of person they are, what their values and morals and all these other things are. But at least when you're working in a small business, you do get to have the sense of family. Because I always tell my employees, I said, when you guys come here, I said, I want you to feel like this is your second home. I want us to have that cohesiveness like a family. Now, sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't, but that doesn't mean that that's not my goal or my purpose. But sometimes, everybody is not going to have that same goal and purpose in mind as you, but you just continue to lead and guide and build in that area, and eventually it'll come around, and they'll understand that what you preach, is kind of how you choose to live.
Very well said. Very well said. And if you're not authentic in preaching and living that, then at that point there's a real definitive, I'll say, individual breakdown in the fabric of what's happening. And two questions come to mind. The first one, two questions come to mind. If you have the world stage and you can give one message to the most senior leaders in organizations, what would that message be, Eureka?
That message would be, having a noble and gracious part of the business. Because when I started this,
did we lose Eureka?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
did we lose you? Forgive me. I think we lost you there for a second. Yep, my apologies. Okay. I think we lost you there for a second. Please go on.
Okay, so when I started this business, I looked up the name Aliana. Now, I don't know why I looked up the name Aliana. It was just one day I said, what does Aliana means? So I looked it up, and it meant noble and gracious. Well, that just truly embodied the type of leadership and the type of manner in which I wanted this business to operate. Because I'm a true believer in God, and I just believe that if we add a little bit of God in everything that we do, we can't go wrong, and I'm saying a little bit, but if you just put them in there, it won't, we can't go wrong. And like I always tell people, he's the CEO of my business and businesses that will come. So I just choose to live my life that way. And I treat my employees with dignity and respect, as well as, I want to be treated with dignity and respect from them as well. And there you have it. And that's what I feel that corporations and businesses, if we just put a little more humanity into the business, it can work out for everyone's good.
Yeah. And I think the way you've summarized it in that particular way, if you will, to be noble and gracious,
Absolutely,
is very powerful. Is very, very powerful.
Yes.
So if we take it, if you will, so that's the general message. And if the next question that comes to my mind is, if you look at, I'll say, fathers, mothers, males, females, you name it, and we say, Eureka, what one single action or act that we should embrace, or habit that we should embrace, that could truly make a difference, and we should embrace it today, what comes to your mind, if you will?
Um, I believe if we just had a little more unity between the whole male, female, child, it's unity, because if we unify and come to a common goal, there's nothing that we can't accomplish. But what happens is everybody have their own agenda and we're all going separate ways. But if we
Yeah.
can have a common goal and become unified, I think from that point on, you can't do nothing but go forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, 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 very eloquently expressed. And from kind of the landscape that's unfolding all around us,
Mm-hmm.
it would, for lack of any other words, it would seem that human beings, societies, have reached that tipping point where we are truly confronted with our almost really an existential crisis, an existential question of, do we break through for unity or don't we, on every level, in every aspect?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, that unity, calling for unity, that goes on many spectrums.
Yeah.
That's unifying, in business, unifying in politics, unifying in, it goes across the board. If we can
Yeah.
just unify, come together, have a common goal, and move forward, I think it can be a better place
Yeah.
for all of
Yes.
us. Yes.
Most definitely. If our listeners, if you will, think about being noble, think about being gracious,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Seek unity and
Yes.
unification in every
Yes.
aspect. I think those are very, very powerful messages, quite honestly.
Yes. I mean, hey, I mean, Sai, you and I have unified.
Most definitely, my friend. Most definitely, you, you're quite tremendous, very openly, and I am looking forward to all the conversations that will happen on the 13th and beyond, quite honestly, because I think these are the kind of conversations that truly will help all of us
Right.
across every spectrum to really move forward in a very, very healthy way in the business world as well as our personal lives. So definitively,
Yes.
definitively.
Absolutely.
My good friend, I want to respect your time. Any sort of parting thoughts for our listeners or anything else that you'd like to share with us today before we sign off?
Well, I would just like to say that to look forward to the Accelerating Women book that's going to be coming out here soon, as well as I'm going to be having Accelerating Women, a nonprofit organization. And also with Accelerating Women, we're going to have Accelerating Girls, Accelerating Boys, and Accelerating Men. And I have some great things in store for all those different divisions.
Wonderful, wonderful. And the ask from other, I'll say the world's perspective is, keep us in the loop, Eureka, all around as these things manifest, because the
Absolutely.
world should be ready. Here comes Eureka. We'll put it that way.
Right, because we're going to accelerate together.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much for making the time, Eureka. Thank you ever so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. You're most welcome. Thank you. And by all means, we hope folks listening will join us on the 13th. And we'll definitely look forward to all the wonderful panels, all the wonderful speakers that are going to be there. And by all means, deep gratitude, of course, for the WBC, the Women Business Collaborative, and Andy Simon, just brilliant folks. And we'll look forward to more catalyzing conversations in the event. So thank you, Eureka.
Thank you, Sai.
Thank you.